Hi, in this video, I'm going to go over some kind of different methods of sort of searching for a topic or developing additional ideas about your topic. A lot of times in English classes, especially in high school, you're probably told to do a lot of research on Google Scholar. In college classes, you're asked to do the majority of your research in the databases that the library has subscriptions to. But really, if we look at how we research things in real life, we use our social media accounts, we use Google, we use YouTube, we all seek out information now from other places, a variety of places. As a communication undergrad, I'm very fascinated with the way that we communicate, seek out information, gain information from multiple places. It's not always been that way for college students because many years ago, college students had to go to the library, like the real library, and check out a book or look up articles in some way. But I mean, things are so advanced now that it's just, and for many of you, this is commonplace. You've never known a world without of all these things. But the point I'm trying to make is, why would I stagnate your thought process just in the scholarly research area? Now, don't confuse this with the fact that you will have to pull in scholarly research articles and scholarly research sources from the JCC or whatever college you're in after JCC, the library databases. This is key. You have to use peer-reviewed and academic sources that have real research, and research that's been studied and approved, and it has credibility. So those are the things that you put into your papers, and those are the things that you put into any kind of research project that you're doing. That's how you should gather your academic information. However, to get to that point, you really need to go through a couple steps to sort of shape and investigate possible avenues or possible choices that you may have. And you really do that outside of that scholarly research area. Of course, you can use the databases to search things, but a lot of times you're pulling in like 20-page journal articles, and you may have 10 of those. Well, multiply 10 times 20, that's a lot of pages to read. And if you really think of the way you gather information, just like in your real life, you're not going, straight to an article to read about it. A lot of times you're just sort of seeking out some general information, kind of shaping your thought processes before you sort of commit to something more serious. And so this video is going to be more about how to do that. So part of being a good scholar and being a college student is being inquisitive and being engaged with your assignments. And a lot of college students, when they first start out, they don't really make that connection. I always say, it's the same thing as like a carpenter coming to my house to do a repair, or a car mechanic doing a repair on a car. They have to have certain tools, and they have to have certain investment into doing those jobs well. So as a student, you need to be invested and engaged in the process of gathering knowledge. That's what being a student is. So in this video, I'm just going to show you some different ways you can acquire some information on topics. The majority of the things you'll do in this process will not make it into cited material, into an academic assignment, but don't look at it as a waste of time. It's really a time saver. So instead of going to read 200 pages of academic documents and maybe only half of those will work for what you're looking for, it's better to go, and there's a fly running around, and I'm so sorry if you see that. There's like a bug that got in. But when you sort of start shaping your research or shaping a topic for a college level assignment, your instructors are wanting you to show that you have critical analysis skills, that you have critical thinking skills, and you can sort of take this open-ended assignment where the instructor really wasn't 100% clear on exactly what they were looking for. And we as college instructors want to see, how do you shape that? What are your abilities at critical thought? And this translates into jobs that you may have in the future, because at a job, they don't automatically just show up and say, this is exactly how you're going to do something, or, hey, we have this problem, I'm going to tell you how to solve it. Because if they're sitting there having to tell you how to do everything, why do they need you? So some of these lessons, it seems kind of weird, but some of them, kind of translate in other ways, and that's part of the education process. Anyway, so there's sort of a trend that a lot of researchers do preliminary research, or they do sort of these sidebar research inquiries. So you're thinking about something and you're not quite sure, like, how is this going to be shaped, or how should I look at it, or what are the conversations that are going on in these groups or in these industries. I'm curious, but I really don't have the full knowledge to understand them. And without some of that preliminary knowledge, sometimes it makes it difficult when you go into the scholarly research searches, because those are very serious, long articles and very academic reading. So sometimes it's better to save yourself some time, really shape your topic well, and do that outside of those scholarly research environments. I'm a researcher. I love research, but I know everybody doesn't. So why not sort of take a path of least resistance and maybe just go to some places that you may already be familiar with, and places that you can explore information prior to going into the scholarly research areas. All of these things are interchangeable in the sense of investigation. So you may have already gone into some scholarly research areas. You may have already looked even on Google Scholar as you've shaped your topic. But there's nothing saying you can't step outside of that and then investigate some things on Google. Again, that's not going to really make it into a paper, but it helps you understand the topic better. It's written in familiar language. It's not as formal, and it's a way for you to feel maybe a little bit more confident with the topic that you're working with. So I'm going to sort of show you a variety of things in one of your research log prompts, and then there will be a secondary one. I'm asking you to sort of let me know how the preliminary research process went for you. Everybody's going to probably have something different to say, because everybody sort of has their comfort zone of where they go online. But I don't want you to restrict yourself. Like, try to step outside of your comfort zone and try to look in different areas. So for instance, we're going to look at Facebook, and I know that Facebook is something that many of you think is just old-fashioned. Grandma's on there, my great aunt, they don't even know how to use technology. But in Facebook, there are a lot of groups that you can check out. There people post videos and articles and all sorts of things that you can sort of investigate. So if you had a Facebook account back when you were 9 years old and you still have it, you can certainly go on there, or create a Facebook account and just go on there. I get frustrated with Facebook just like anyone else. I have the aunts who don't know how to use it properly as well. But I think it does have value if you're willing to sort of investigate it that way. We're going to look at YouTube, LinkedIn. Some of you may not be familiar with that, but that's sort of a social media for business networking. But as a student and someone who will soon need an internship or a job once you graduate or once you go to the university setting, why not investigate LinkedIn? There are a lot of articles on there as well where professionals are speaking and talking about topics within their industries. You can also go to Twitter. I did not pull up Reddit because I think I have a Reddit account, but I don't really go on there a lot. But you can use Reddit because there will be streams of conversations on there sometimes. Instagram's mostly pictures, but sometimes people post links to things, or you'll start to see hashtags that sort of link ideas. So let's get started, and we'll just kind of play around with it. There is no perfect here. It's just that I'm just trying to show you ways that you can further investigate your topic and make it a little easier on yourself, to be honest. Scholarly stuff is like fun for me. I do it a lot, but I also use these methods to investigate things. So, all right. So I went to the search bar of Facebook, and I'll just do a couple different topic selections. So I think in the other video I talked about the helium shortage and the fact that my husband works in industrial gases, and one of the decade-long problems in industrial gases is the fact that helium, much like a gas shortage or any kind of product shortage, helium has been a problem with the gas industry because it's an element. Again, I'm sort of talking outside of my knowledge base here. I'm not a scientist, but my husband does work with chemistry and science and these industrial gases. But so helium is an element. You can't just make it. The earth has to make it. So if there's a shortage, you sort of have to wait until the earth catches up to create this helium. Again, that's about as far as my knowledge can go. But there's been a problem because a lot of people use helium for recreational use, for parties, helium balloons, things like that. But really, the usage of helium for medical uses for MRI machines, and MRI machines and tests show life-threatening illnesses. So it's very important that we would have that helium for those things. So that's a topic within that industry. That's an issue that needs to be solved, and it's something that they've been discussing for decades. But anyway, so I'm going to go in here and just say, let's say I had an interest in the helium shortage. So I could just do a really, basic, and you can see that I've searched it before for examples, but you can just do a basic search and see what kind of conversations are going on with this. So in this case, I sort of knew an area of engineering or an area of industrial technology that was a problem. So I went straight to it. Some of you may already be to that point where you sort of know the area that you're going to be directed in for your topic for the semester. Some of you may not. So let's say you just know you sort of want to be a nurse. And so I'm just going to say innovations in nursing. So with innovations in nursing, that means kind of like, I don't really know what direction I'm going to go in, but I'm going to see what people are talking about on Facebook or any social media account. So as you see, automatically I've started to find some groups and some places that I may want to investigate further. So here, always look on Facebook. It'll show you like public group or private group. Public groups, anybody can go in there and see everything. And then if it says private, you have to sort of join the group. Not a big deal to join a group. You just have to sort of request and usually get accepted pretty quickly. Here you can see some pages that have been created, and that might help you get to a topic that you're interested in. So here I'm just going to say see all, and it'll sort of show me some areas that may contain some information. So here's even the ECU College of Nursing. Sometimes if a university even has that degree, you may want to go to the university just to see what they're posting on their web pages. They may post research, they may post links or videos that may help you sort of gather your topic information. So anyway, here's some things that you could sort of look at. One thing I'll point out, this is a sort of sponsored link for going from RN to BSN. Since we're not really writing about how to do the job or anything involved with actually performing the job, you want to obviously steer clear of those topics. What we're looking for is issues, problems, things that are being solved, innovations that are happening, new technologies that are being used, new procedures, things that are sort of solving problems within the industry. So I think one of the problem solving things that has happened with the helium shortage is the industrial gas industry, I believe, has tried to control some of the distribution of the helium to the party stores and for use for partying when there is a a shortage in it because they've tried to, but I don't know that it's fully regulated to the point where they'll stop the sale of it. So like if a Party City can get a helium tank and they're willing to pay the higher prices during a shortage, they can sort of get it. But anyway, so this is a way to look through here. Let's say I didn't want to do innovations in nursing, but I wanted to do problems and issues in nursing care. I don't know. I'm just sort of playing around with words, and feel free for yourself as well to sort of see what's out there. So in this case, we're seeing skilled nursing. This is COVID. Be careful with COVID topics. There's not a lot of peer-reviewed research because it's just, a year and a half old as far as some of the research that's happened. So I have had students who tried to do it and they've had a little bit of trouble finding the scholarly research. Even though there is research on infectious diseases, it may not just be specifically on COVID. So those are things to think about. Let's say you want to, we had talked about neonatal nursing. So solutions to problems in neonatal care. Again, I'm just sort of making up phrases to see what I find. It may not work. So if it doesn't work, that's fine. Just move on. If you find a lot of information, I did give you guys a chart for preliminary research, and you could sort of write down some of the phrasing that you found and then transfer those over to the scholarly research searches that you'll do. So anyway, look to see what you find. You may have nursing friends who have posted things and they may come up with Facebook. So I'm going to go over to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very similar to Facebook, and I'm going to do some of the searches here. So helium shortage. A lot of times with LinkedIn, and go ahead and make yourself an account. I mean, it is a way to research and connect with people in the careers that you hope to be successful in. But here's something about massive discovery boost for Royal Helium. I don't know what that means. It's not my industry, but here's some articles. A lot of professionals post articles on LinkedIn. I saw one today about, and I wouldn't be able to write about this in this class, but it was about community college salaries and the fact that oftentimes K through 12 teachers, public school teachers, get raises, but because community college instructors are state employees, we don't get raises. A lot of people don't understand that, and it's something that's sort of a debate. Should community college instructors get sort of separate raises from state employees? So I did see an article on that, and it just came to me because of what I do for a living. So here's some other things about the helium shortage. I'm going to go back up here and do some nursing things, innovations in nursing. I don't know what will happen, but we'll see if anything comes up. Now, sometimes you'll see jobs because on LinkedIn, a lot of people post jobs, but you could sort of read through and see if anything, sparks an interest for you. If not, and you know that there's a certain area that you want to work in, then try to do that. So solutions to problems in nursing. You just keep kind of playing around with the different things that may connect to an article or a discussion. You're going to have to read through them. I'm not connected to a whole bunch of medical people on here because of what I do for a living, but you may find something. We'll go to the neonatal. Oops. If I could spell, that might help. There we go. So I know I'm interested in neonatal nursing, so that might break it down to a more narrow search with that. So here's one of the professional organizations, and they've posted an article. So anyway, you guys have already done some research to this point, so you could take what you already know and then do more of a refined search for some things that may help you define your topic a little further. So let's see if anything sort of came up. Back when my student did kangaroo care, I'm pretty sure she found some good stuff on social media because it was something that people were really talking about at the time. So here's a little article: benefits of skin-to-skin contact with baby, kangaroo care, helping low birth weight infants. So if you have some terms that are more specific, sometimes that can help you narrow your search a little bit on these social media sites. And you're going to know that better than I would. Okay, so Twitter, we'll go to helium shortage first. This is an ad. I want to get rid of it. I'll just mute them. Maybe it'll go away. I want it to go away. I don't want to report it. Okay, it won't go away, but anyway. So you can go in and just see, hey, are there any hashtags that may connect me to something? Are there any discussions that make me think about the topic differently? And sometimes there are, and sometimes there aren't. It's just, you're just kind of looking. Sometimes Twitter is very specific and sometimes it's very silly. So, you could also go up here and do a hashtag. See what comes up. Sometimes you can connect with hashtags. So think about it that way. Like, here's something, I blame the helium shortage on the Kardashians, because if anybody follows the Kardashians, they always have all these balloons at all their parties. So I agree. So sometimes it's silly, but sometimes you will get connected to like a real conversation with professionals or people who maybe are passionate about the ideas. So here's someone who posted a link to something that was published, and it looks like an opinion. I'm just going to click on it. Let's hope it's worthy. Yeah, so here we go. I don't know where the Mercury News is, but here is a discussion in an article about the helium shortage. So you can see how that social media connection then took you to an additional conversation. So it's wanting me to subscribe. I'm not going to do that. Get out of that. Okay. Let's go up here and we'll do hashtag let's just do kangaroo care, because it's not as innovative as it used to be, because more and more people are doing it. Because as you can see here, is this like a real kangaroo? There's a kangaroo care day, but that's probably for real kangaroos. Here's a neonatal unit. So sometimes you can look at the hashtags and just see, is that something that you want to seek out further? That penny hoarder, I'm telling you. There's an example. Skin to skin is a hashtag. Different things. Maybe International Kangaroo Day is for premature babies. I am not sure. So, but sometimes you do get more of an image. You get to see the pictures, you get to see the discussions, you get links to things, and sometimes that can help you understand it better. So here is a neonatal unit, and they dressed up as kangaroos to promote kangaroo care during Halloween. So I don't know. It's kind of just interesting. Sometimes it'll even validate something that you're researching, because you'll think, oh, well, there are a lot of people talking about this. It really is significant. I'm gonna just try neonatal nursing and just, no, let me try this. I'm gonna try oncology nursing. I don't know. If you're interested in nursing, I would say definitely, or engineering. Nursing and engineering, There's so many varied parts of those professions. Try to narrow it down to what you're interested in. So with engineering, manufacturing, industrial, environmental, like what part of engineering do you want to do? Here's some discussions about goals and, well, try to steer clear of staffing, because staffing, that's more about doing the job more than patient care or something like that. This is from a school of oncology, and they posted something from a conference. So sometimes you can tap in to organizations that way as well. So that's Twitter. Instagram, the thing about Instagram is it's all pictures, but if you're just burnt out on reading articles, why not just try to, tap into just, your thought process by looking at some pictures. So I'll do the helium shortage again. So you start to see some hashtags, and so this is kind of interesting. It's not just an United States problem, it's a worldwide problem. I think my husband had said there are some supplies in Russia, and sometimes international problems happen with getting, is it very expensive to get the helium shipped. So that's one way you can do it. I was trying to think of some of the other topics. I know that I had several students they were either interested in marine biology or environmental engineering, and they were very interested in solutions to marine life, turtles, those kinds of things. So turtle population conservation. So let's say I wasn't really sure what direction to go in. If I did this, it's going to connect me to some groups. I could write those down. You may even be able to transfer that into a Facebook or a Google search or a YouTube search. So Instagram's not bad. I really think it's kind of, let me just go here, conservation. So here's a conservation group. If it comes up, I don't know why it's being so slow. So I was trying to see this, I don't know if this is any good or not, but sometimes just like looking at the pictures, you'll see some projects. Maybe they've put a hashtag with the project, and you can get information. I know at Emerald Isle in North Carolina, there's a really big turtle conservation movement there. I mean, they roam the beaches daily to look for nests and try to save them. So, I don't know. That looks like they're just partying. That does not look like they're doing much turtle conservation. We could do North Carolina turtle conservation, because I know most of the, yeah, so here we go. This is a North Carolina Conservation Network, so there might be some things there that you could look at to see if they had any statistics or if they had any projects going on, and that might be a solution to a problem. So I hope this is sort of making sense to you. I wanted to go to YouTube. I really like using YouTube because, again, sometimes you want to break from reading. I'm an English teacher, love to read, but I know sometimes even I can get burnt out on reading. So let's just see what comes up with turtle conservation. Okay, so I could go in, if I was interested in this topic, watch a couple videos, watch a couple posts, and that might give me some terms that I could search in the scholarly areas, some ideas that I could go back and search in Google. So sometimes just listening to some of these videos, it'll help you understand the topic a little bit better. Pretty much anything you put in, there'll probably be some sort of video. I'm just going to say North America and just see what happens. I don't know if there'll be anything. Okay, so lots and lots of things that you could watch here. Is the world running out of helium? So I really love YouTube, and I know a lot of you use that to get information anyway. So that's a good thing to do. Neonatal nursing. So here they may discuss some things that are happening. Different nurses may post. Again, kind of steer clear of anything that's like salary related or work related, but you may see, you may hear a nurse talk about something they do on their job, and that may help you develop your topic further. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about with YouTube is TED Talks. I love TED Talks, and some of you may know what that is, and some of you may not, but TED Talks are when experts kind of have the stage and they will sort of share their knowledge. It's really easy to find conversations in TED Talks. There's also TEDx, which sometimes TEDx is more edgy topics, and TED Talks is, might have more formal or consistent kind of middle of the road topics, but you can do TEDx or TED Talks. There will be a research log prompt that you'll do where you bring in a TED Talk. Some semesters I have a whole assignment built around TED Talks. You can use a TED Talk. I do allow a TED Talk or a documentary in the annotated bibliography as a source. So it wouldn't hurt to go and try to find a TED Talk. It's kind of fun to listen to. They're often very animated and interesting. A lot of you probably have seen TED Talks. So I'm going to just do TED Talk on, I don't know if there's one on the helium shortage, but let's try it. Try whatever. Oh, didn't TED Talk. It didn't show. All right, let me go to TED Talk and just see what comes, if I can just tap into that a little bit better. Let me get to the TED page. Oh. Okay. Looking for a search bar. I haven't had this problem before here we go, from YouTube, but you can also go to Google and just type in TED Talks. So let me just put helium shortage. Nothing came up. So there may not be a TED Talk on the helium shortage. What if we put in nursing? I'm just going to say nursing innovations. So some of these things are about pharmaceuticals. A lot of times you can just go through and see if something interests you. Why is it doing? I think I'm going to switch over, if y'all don't mind, to just Google and just look for TED Talks that way. It seems like sometimes things just change up, and be resilient as you look through things. I'm going to go to the TED Talk website, and that just might be easier. Okay, let me see. So it looks like there are some TED Talk speakers that are featured here, and then sometimes they'll just show you the topics that are available for that particular interest. I think if you're looking at TED Talk, sometimes it does help if you have more of a narrowed approach to it, because if you're too broad, you're just going to get a bunch of things that don't really fit that well. It's just going to be too much of a broad spectrum to find something. But let me see, I'm trying to think. Turtle conservation. Let's see what comes up. The ocean shifting baseline, that looks interesting. That's something that where he may talk about a problem that's being solved, a problem that needs innovation. I don't know. You can just go through and check. Okay. Didn't know if there was anything. I think that one looked most interesting to me. Here's a guy who has studied a shark, I guess, but it looks like it's more of a cartoon than anything else. I think in another video I mentioned that I'm not a fisherman, but I do. I'm from the beach, and so have been around fishing a lot. But I know there are some controversial issues with the environment and fishing, commercial fishing, recreational fishing, and so you may be able to find something in that area if you want to go into environmental engineering, if you're interested in oceans and marine life. So I think like this is one of those things that you fall down the rabbit hole and you just find all sorts of things. I'm going to go up here. The other thing you can do, and I've done this before as well, is you can go to Google and you can put just in your search TED Talk on, and then just put whatever you want to find. So I'm going to do TED Talk on, let's see if turtle conservation comes up. I don't know. So sometimes that's another way I found TED Talks instead of trying to do the refined searches on their page. So that may help as well. So this was an interesting one, the survival of the sea turtle. That is a problem because the reason why, if I'm not mistaken, is in the old days, the moon lit the ocean. And then when the turtles hatched, they went towards the light of the moon and then they would find the ocean. And then when people started building more in beach communities, that created a backlight to the beach. And so then the turtles would sort of go the wrong direction and the babies didn't make it to the ocean and then they died. So that's been a problem. And so people are trying to help turtles survive, and that's why they protect those nests. And then they sort of build this kind of crevice in the sand so that the turtles have no choice but to go towards the ocean. So that's my limited knowledge, but you do TED Talk on nursing innovations. I don't know what will come up, but here we go. Looks like some things are available. If you don't want to be a nurse, but you might want to go into medicine in some way, some things may come up there. So see what you can find. See if this helps. I do not believe it's a waste of time. I think it really does help you think differently about your topic, and it sort of gives you a break from reading all those long articles and kind of getting stressed. I think when you step outside of that kind of norm of just researching for scholarly purpose and you just try to engage with the information through social media, Google, Facebook, Twitter, even like I said, Reddit, if you want to use that, or Instagram, it kind of helps you make it more purposeful, and you're doing something that you normally do anyway. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions about it, let me know.